In the early hours of a frigid December morning in 1992, the stillness of the South Dakota plains was torn apart by the sound of screeching tires and twisting metal. A car carrying 3 young souls skidded on black ice and flipped into a ditch along Route 281 near Lake Andes. When the dust settled and help arrived, only one remained: Tracy Dion, a 17-year-old girl trapped in the wreckage, dazed and alone. Her cousins Arnold Archambault and Ruby Brugier had vanished into the biting cold, setting off a mystery that would haunt their reservation community and defy explanation for decades. Arnold Archambault, a 20-year-old Yankton Sioux, was a kind-hearted man raised on the Charles Mix County Reservation. After losing his mother in his early teens, he was nurtured by his grandmother and later lived with his aunt Karen Tuttle. Popular and athletic, he played basketball at Marty Indian School and even toured the Soviet Union with an all-Native American team in 1990. By 1992, he worked at Fort Randall Casino, balancing his job with the joys and challenges of fatherhood. Ruby Brugier, 18, was born to Quentin and Myrtle Brugier in Wagner, South Dakota, one of 8 siblings in a tight-knit family. Gentle and humorous, she grew up alongside Arnold on the reservation, their childhood friendship blossoming into love during high school. In 1991, they welcomed their daughter Erica Marie and settled into life with Arnold's aunt. On the night of December 11, 1992, the young parents, weary from caring for their infant, craved a break. They left Erica with Ruby's uncle and set out to unwind, joined by Ruby's cousin Tracy. The trio returned in the early morning, their laughter tinged with the haze of alcohol. Ruby's uncle, uneasy about their condition, refused to let them take Erica home. He urged them to sober up and return later, keeping the baby safe in his care. For reasons lost to time, Tracy chose to leave with them instead of staying behind. Just before 7 a.m., as dawn crept over the icy plains, Arnold steered the car toward an intersection. Tracy later recalled his glance left and right, his murmured assurance that the road was clear. But the black ice had other plans. The car spun wildly, flipping into a shallow ditch beside Route 281. When Tracy came to, Arnold was gone, vanished without a trace. Ruby, still beside her, was frantic, pounding the car and crying out in despair. She forced the passenger door open just enough to slip out, but as Tracy reached to follow, the door slammed shut, sealing her inside. Alone and confused, she waited as the cold tightened its grip around the wreckage. Paramedics and police arrived to a bewildering scene. Tracy, shaken but alive, and no sign of Arnold or Ruby. She recounted what she could, admitting they'd all been drinking. Deputy Sheriff Bill Youngstrom led the first wave of searches, scouring the ditch, the nearby lake, and an old railbed. Family members joined the effort, trudging through snow and silence for weeks, but the couple seemed to have dissolved into the winter air. Then came the sightings, whispers that deepened the enigma. One witness swore they saw Arnold and Ruby climbing into a vehicle heading east moments after the crash. Another, a woman who knew Arnold, claimed she spotted him on New Year's Eve with 3 others. She passed a polygraph, though 2 of her companions did not. More sightings trickled in, each one a thread in a tapestry of confusion. The police, perhaps too eager for an easy answer, latched onto a theory. Arnold and Ruby were hiding, dodging the consequences of driving drunk. This assumption led them to bypass the National Missing Persons database, a misstep that would echo through the years. As weeks stretched into months, the trail grew colder, the mystery darker. Then, on March 10, 1993, a motorist's glance into the ditch shattered the silence. A body floated there, so ravaged by time that only a tattoo confirmed it was Ruby Brugier, just 75 feet from where the car had overturned. Authorities drained the ditch and found Arnold 15 feet away, submerged under 4 feet of water, his body far less decayed than hers. Both wore the clothes from that fateful night, though Ruby's shoes and glasses were gone. In Arnold's pocket, 3 keys glinted, 1 for a car, 2 likely for a house, yet no lock in the region matched them. How could they have lain there undetected when searchers had combed that very ground? The Minnehaha County coroner examined the remains and declared hypothermia the cause of death, with no serious injuries from the crash. Yet the when of it eluded him. Had they frozen that night or later? The police began to suspect the bodies had been placed there after death, a theory the families embraced with growing fury. They had to die someplace, Ruby's father Quentin insisted. Somebody had to come and put them back in there again to make it look like that's where they died. Frustration boiled over as the families clashed with law enforcement. Deputy Youngstrom admitted his photos of the crash scene were blank, lost to a processing error. "It sounds like you're trying to cover your butt," snapped Arnold's cousin Mike Archambault. Ruby's sister spoke of a deeper wound: the systemic neglect of Native American victims. When a Native American is charged with something, it's pursued heavily, Arnold's Aunt Karen Tuttle added. When a Native American is a victim, it's not pursued with the same perseverance. Other oddities fueled their doubts. A clump of Ruby's hair found near her body was inexplicably pristine. 2 men in a trailblazer were seen by the ditch days before the discovery, yet they slipped away unidentified. Theories swirled like the prairie wind. Had Arnold and Ruby been taken, killed, and returned to stage a scene? What secrets did those keys hold? "I don't think anyone feels there wasn't foul play," one of Ruby's aunts whispered, her words heavy with the community's fear. In 1995, Unsolved Mysteries cast a national spotlight on the case, sparking tips that led nowhere. Youngstrom stood firm. "I myself personally walked that ditch several times. They couldn't have been there. They couldn't have been missed." The FBI stepped in, but 4 years later, they closed the file, citing no evidence of foul play. "All we know is that they appeared in the ditch, and that was it," Special Agent Matt Miller said flatly. Yet the questions lingered, gnawing at those left behind. Sheriff Westendorf, retiring in 2011, called it the most confounding case of his career. "I believe they were placed in the ditch after they passed away somewhere else. It's pretty hard to prove somebody was murdered when you don't have any evidence." Ruby's parents took in little Erica, raising her with love shadowed by loss. Quentin passed in 2001, the truth still beyond his grasp. Today, the deaths of Arnold Archambault and Ruby Brugier remain an open wound on the reservation, a chilling riddle etched into the South Dakota plains. Were they victims of a cruel twist of fate or something far more sinister? The answers, like the couple themselves, have slipped into the cold, unyielding silence, leaving only echoes of a night that refuses to fade.